Invariably, I'm not sure anybody who is successful today who can come out boldly and say, my success is single-handedly his or herself. Directly or indirectly, there is a communal influence.
Yes.
Whether they say I'm a one-man mopo,
Yes.
stand alone,
Right.
my goals, my success, my achievement is all me. No. Individualism in ourselves, they work. Look, I tell you, in a workplace, why are we saying collaboration has become very key?
Very, very.
Collaboration has become very key. Say collaborate, teamwork. Then somebody in your resume will say, I am a team player. If you are a team player, you are not an individualistic person.
Hello, everybody. It's another edition of the LHC Pod. We're here to bring you yet another exciting, stimulating, and what else, 18 episode. So, first and foremost, how are you doing?
We're doing great, and I hope that the audience is doing great too. And which is why we are here to give them the best of the best.
Yes,
to
indeed.
be super duper,
Yes, indeed.
giving them what they cannot see on any other platform. And that is why the LEC podcast is here.
Yeah.
Every time we're bringing smile, we're bringing innovation, we're bringing motivation, and we're bringing knowledge to their own doorstep. And which is why that is what we're living for, and which is why we are here. And as you can see, the background is entirely different.
Yes.
All thanks to Lola.
Me?
She's
What did I
got
do?
the best.
What did I do, though?
She's basically got the best spots for us to use. You haven't chopped knuckle. I know you don't like this, but
it's a guy thing.
it's a guy.
It is a guy thing.
You are in the
Guys
midst
do
of
this.
guys. So you get
It's giving masculine energy.
so you
It's a
get
lot
to
of masculine energy.
you've got to learn a bit of guys culture.
Okay, so would you do feminine stuff too?
Like what? It depends.
Well, when we greet each other, we usually exchange hugs and stuff.
But I would give a hug.
Okay, I know you would. Anyway, moving on. So we're here today, and it's a beautiful day. Honestly, this can be a better location. So we are in the middle of a bookstore, Laterna Bookstores, and let's talk a little bit about where we are. Let's talk about what the concept behind being at this location is. So Laterna, if you've not heard of the brand, it's been around for a while, since the 90s actually. It's been here for quite a minute. Lots of good, wholesome reading. Personally, I've been a customer for over a decade, and it's a lot. In fact, if you go to my bookshelf at home, I think half of the books there came from Laterna. So it's very interesting in terms of the selection, wide variety of books. You've got stationaries, and my all-time favorite, journals. If you're the kind that loves to journal, you should definitely get your stuff at Laterna. So we're here today.
Yeah, very well. And I think it's a good partnership between us because
Yes.
they've been able to key into what our vision is for this for the podcast.
A
And
fantastic
it's a
partnership.
fantastic one.
Yes.
And we want to say a big thank you to them for
thank you.
availing us this.
Thank you.
So it therefore means that some of our editions and episodes will be coming from this point.
Live.
And if you want to patronize them, please check them out. They have, I think Lola has, would I say, introduced me, and I'm already been baptized. And I think most of
Yes.
my collections now are coming from this place. They have
Wow,
good
nice,
works.
nice.
And I tell you, yes. So let's take it up from there.
Oh, amazing. And guess who I'm baptizing next? Our guest.
You,
Yes.
if you can,
Oh, he's going to get baptized. In fact, the moment our guest walked in, I just said to myself, he looks like a reader. So, definitely going to get baptized. So, who is our guest? Our mystery guest.
your mystery guest.
Mystery guest.
Unveil,
Yes.
unveil.
Unveil. Oh, I love this part. Okay. So, our guest is someone who is educated, obviously, enigmatic, and a self-described corporate body. Now, if you don't know what that is, you will know. Trust me.
You'll find out.
You'll find out. Yes.
Let's go on a commercial break and we'll be
Right.
back to give you what we have in the offing.
With our corporate body.
All right, welcome back. What do we have for you today? I think Lola is the one that would unveil to you what basically we have, the guest we have on ground today, and the topic that we will be discussing with you.
All right.
Over
You
to you,
think?
Lola. Yeah.
Anyway, we're in a place where thinkers spend time, so it makes a lot of sense. So,
Okay.
our guest, like I said, is a corporate body, but it's more than just that. A corporate communications guru, and you know those things where you have some people in the office crafting all sorts of messaging that would go out to the public. You know, they write so very good with the English and everything. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
And if I tell you that
Yes.
my training comes from him, would you believe that?
well, you speak good English sometimes. So, so, so yeah.
We'll come back to that, but
Yes.
let's for now. Let's
Yes,
carry
we'll
on.
come back to that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to have with us today the one and only Kenneth Adejumoh. You're welcome.
Let's put our hands together and welcome Kenneth.
You're welcome.
Oh man, at this moment I'm really speechless. When Iman, Lola, when you're talking, I was actually wondering if they were referring to me or there's somebody behind me or behind the
should
scene.
think
So,
Whoever is behind the scene is the person we have unveiled.
Yes.
all right, viewers, it's a pleasure to be here right here with these two amazing and fantastic fellows.
Thank you.
Iman,
Amazing.
Iman, I come way back. You know?
Yes, it's an English word.
Yeah, we come way back. Yeah, and the energy of Lola I've heard is very contagious. So I'm highly spirited that I'm going to have that energy that the audience are looking for in a guest today.
Yes, and we're
Thank
looking
you.
forward to it.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Thank
Let's
you.
shoot.
We
Let's
are.
shoot.
Yes, we are. So, and that brings us to the next point. So, what are we talking about today? I mean, we're here, we're together, you know, we've known each other for a while and everything. So, today's topic is exploring relationships, but it's a different twist. So, we're going to talk about communal versus individual living. Now, we're going to put it in the context of society. So, we all know how things have evolved, especially in recent times where we have more individualistic living. And we also know that traditionally Africa has operated as a communal society. So let's talk about that today.
Yes. So thank you very much, Lola and Kenneth, and thanks again once again, Kenneth, for agreeing to be on this episode of the podcast. I know
you.
that it's usually not easy to get you, but you obliged us at one call. We do appreciate you for that. And basically, we're talking about communal versus individual living.
Yes,
I know
yes.
for sure that if it were to be individualism, you won't oblige us that
Right.
timing
Yeah.
within the shortest time
Yeah.
of getting in touch with you for obliging. So it's more of a brotherhood thing, and basically it explains what's communal living. If you ask me to define communal living or lifestyle, just say, see me, look at Mr. Ken. What is the connection between
Us.
us? So it basically explains that. But beyond that, we're looking at how it affects society. It's Africa as a continent leaving its root and embracing something that is alien to them. Is that affecting our way of life? Is it affecting our is it really leading us to where we should be? Is it taking individualism as against communalism? Is it drawing us back? What are we learning? What are the lessons that we are taking from these call it
Western
philosophy or because we're not used to individualism, right? But now
traditionally.
you traditionally
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah.
I think it's now becoming a part and parcel of us. So what we're basically doing today is to try and X-ray this topic and see how it has affected us as a people, even in terms of leadership style. Has it affected our leadership style? Is this something that we really need to retrospect, like kind of think about and see how we can manage the situation? I think that for me is bringing this conversation to the fore so that people can really have a deep thinking on where which best suit them and how best to manage all of this philosophy. Is it right? So how to manage basically this philosophy. I don't know, Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, man. I told you guys when we're behind the scene that
Yeah, right.
I've seen that this is a conspiracy between you and Lola. So put me on the spot, but but the energy, like I said, is contagious. So it's a very significant topic we are talking about this this in this special episode: communal living and individual living. The African society. When you look at it from that angle, to be honest and to be sincere with you, I would say communal living is a predominant in the African society. It's very, very predominant. Like we're communal people. I will talk about communalism. If we go into English, I would say communalism. What does it define? It simply says community. It simply says being together, relating together, economically, socially, and otherwise. So for us, growing up back then, for those of us that were privileged to grow up in the village, growing up in the village was is a perfect definition of communal living. You see that the next door neighbor, you know his or her whereabouts. In the rural environment, till date, somebody is going out, is not scared who to leave the child with. He's very certain that there is a caregiver I can trust my child with. That is, it's a subset of communal living. But if we trickle it to individual living, you are going to have a problem. I have this appointment and I need not go with a child. I need to be there alone. Who do I leave the child? Begin to think. So at the end of the day, you might likely call off that appointment or engagement because there is nobody trusted to leave the world with or the child with. So for us as Africans, it is very, very part and parcel of us. It's something that our forefathers lived with. Our parents today are living is still in that realm. Then but because of, let me not digress, but let me just mention, technological advancement is affecting our communal living. I'm sure, and because of this discussion, we'll get there.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Yes.
So, but let's focus on the communal living as a topic on its own.
Okay.
It is who we are. It is what we are. It is what we live. It is what we breathe. And it is what we digest every now and then. If not for communal engagement, honestly, was it Tuesday or Wednesday, Iman reached out to me on WhatsApp, not the way I can just say WhatsApp chat, and I said, oh, 5th, fine. Not like I don't have things to do. I do. But I just said, no, I have always told him, I said, see, we've come a long way. I've told him, Ima, let me go to the street. Ima, I no get money and I go give you. But anything you are doing, I will support you. This is, I always repeat that. You can bear me witness here.
Yeah.
And I feel coming here today as a guest is a privilege, it's an honor on my part, and it's part of the communal living that has brought us together to where we are. Let me bring it to this level again.
Okay.
Back then, many years ago, growing up as a child, I remember very well. I want to take it to the banking sector.
Okay.
I grew up with parents who are civil servants, retired now. And guess what? I remember as a young boy, I do follow my mom to the bank on salary. When salary is paid, that salary week. So it's usually in the village, then it's a setting that once salaries are paid, teachers are usually the biggest set of people in the rural community.
Yeah.
Back then. They are the big people, however you want to put it. So we'll go to our company to the market. The small banking hall is at the heart of the market. So we'll go there. I realize that when we enter, we'll see that in that small banking hall, people are sitting waiting to withdraw money or do one transaction or the other. They don't know each other from anywhere, but they have all met in the bank. They are discussing. I'm bringing it to the present day reality. Go to
Okay.
the bank.
Right.
The bank is usually very silent, no noise. It looks like there is another that you must not talk at the top of your voice.
Voice.
Yeah, so
True.
you see
That's
everybody
true.
with their gadget. They are operating. Sometimes, a few years ago, you can't even operate your mobile phone in a banking hall.
That's true.
Yeah, when you can't receive a call in a
That's true.
banking hall. The security will accost you and say it's not allowed, gentlemen, young lady, it's not allowed. But that has changed again right now. So what I'm saying is, back then, the people go to the bank, you see them interacting, pending when they will be called to come and take their withdrawals. But today, you go to the bank, everybody, you mind your business. If at all, as a guy, you see somebody, maybe a lady you're attracted to, and you just feel like having a connection, nothing is joining two of you. You might just say, man, go meet her, make it borrow me pen. Yeah, that's you didn't have a need of a pen. Are you getting it? So
that's
just
what
to
let's go.
let's go. So just to create,
Okay.
so we are bringing you want to create that communal engagement
Engagement.
with that person. So
Yes.
however technology has shifted our mind, we still try to infuse that in our amongst ourselves. Even if we are no more in that rural setting or that old setting that seeing each other physically is what binds us. Today, there is nobody who has a smartphone and is on WhatsApp who does not belong to one WhatsApp group or the other. You know,
Honestly.
possible.
Honestly.
It's communal living.
Okay.
You're on Facebook. There is nobody on Facebook that will not say he or she has not joined a community on Facebook,
Facebook, yes.
Instagram.
True.
All of it put together. So we have digitalized the communal living in our African setting today. So I'm just trying to let you know that however digitalization has transformed the society, however the world has become westernized, Africa has become westernized, and the technology invariably has made us a global village. So that communal living is still part and parcel of us.
Interesting.
All right. Wonderful. Yeah, I think that Lola.
Yeah, sure. So I think speaking to what you were saying about communal living, would you say that technology has necessarily brought some rifts into how we interact as a community? I know you touched on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it this way. For us in public relations and communication sector where I operate, when I started my career over a decade ago, we started from an average PRO guy. Usually have a stage in journalism. We usually have our root somehow coming from the journalism angle. So when we started, I remember then, of course, news writing, feature writing, pitching news releases in publication, attending events, and all that, getting content to publish. When we started, just after school, NYSC, I got into the profession, began to hear, just a year or two after, I began to hear social media is going to take the place of PR. It's going to take the place of traditional media. When we say traditional media, we're talking about the print
TV,
media, broadcast, radio, and all that. Say, internet is going to take us, is going to collect our jaw. Let me use that phrase. So, but at the end of the day, so as smart people in this industry, what we're taught is we need to diversify our knowledge. You need to now key into that space. It was also said that the traditional medias, they will fizzle out. Social media will fizzle out, internet will fizzle out. But today, there is no traditional media that doesn't have a strength on digital platform, on social media. Instagram, in fact, they no longer wait till 24 hours before they break news. As it happen, they launch them.
Yes.
Are you getting
They
it? So
even pick news from the social space.
yeah, and once they pick it, they make it even more fun. People like us, we believe them when they pick stories,
Yes.
and we feel like it is more authentic than the regular those small blogs, so to say, in quote. So what I'm saying here in communal living is the same thing. The digital transformation cannot kill it. As Africans, it will rather empower it. It will take it to another level. Our friends, brothers and sisters who are abroad today, in the past, you won't hear from them. But today, they are still together, keeping in touch, except for physical presence.
Yes.
But
True.
with digital, with technology, we converse with them.
Yes.
Video calls are going on. We set up meetings. In fact, if it's corporate, if it's in the corporate setting, Zoom and Microsoft Teams have even enabled that to become simpler.
Yeah.
On when was that? On 27th of
Easy.
September,
Yes.
I was privileged to be a panelist in a global summit.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was one of the panelists here. We were discussing. It was an African thing. So technology brought that coming together. It was not just a Nigerian thing. We had people from various countries in Africa. So that is technology. So with that, we were able to share knowledge. We were able to interact. We were able to impact each other on issues concerning government and communication, as well as transparency. That was the center of our discussion. So what I'm saying is that communal living, however you take it, go to the grassroots, go back to the village, come to the urban area, come to the most advanced cities in Africa, then bring in digital transformation, technology, models, all of it together. Communal living is still a center of what Africa drives on.
Okay,
Amazing.
yeah, amazing, wonderful points there. If I'm to basically summarize in one word or in a sentence, you're basically saying that, however we look at it,
Yeah.
communal living still lives with us.
It's in us, not just living with us, it's in
Is
us.
in
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I will quite totally get the point. But I think that my position is that sometimes I wonder. We say we have communal living. Basically, it is to one for all for one, to foster development.
Yeah.
People look out for others. Security wise, it is there because everybody knows everybody, and everybody is able to monitor the activities of everyone.
Yeah.
I also grew up in the village, a proud village boy. A proud one at that.
But okay, carry on.
And I know for sure that you would have people go for communal work
Yeah.
when the bushes are grown. They want to clear.
Yeah.
They want to do sanitation for
Yeah.
the markets.
Yes.
you
Yeah,
you
I
can
relate
relate
very well. I
with
relate.
very well
Lola may
with
not
all
be able
these
to relate.
things. Don't worry. You would have people. There's a town crowd that will go around, and then a general call, and there is a sense of responsibility
Yes.
on every adult in the community,
Yeah.
and they are able to go out there, get the task done.
Yeah.
If it's to clean the drainages, clear the bushes, clean the market, fix the road, and so stuff like that are done. And if you see, if you circle back again, you would also see that then we have social groups. I will call them social groups. I don't know how you refer to them. Boy Scouts, the man was the girls gate,
paramilitary.
Military, and you see that they take up responsibilities and tasks at different times. These groups can basically just see that, oh, they need to go fix somewhere, maybe a portal, and then you see them having that activity, which is a clear example of who we are as a people. But bringing it back these days, you hardly see those things happening. This paramilitary have been replaced with the social media space. So I know I'm coming. Maybe you drive your back. I don't see this paramilitary group as being active. In communities, we don't no longer have this thing. At least maybe because I now live in the urban set areas. You don't just see this enthusiasm in people when they say this is going to happen. And it's beginning to bring, and I'm bringing it home. The reason why I went way back is just so that we can easily establish this conversation and then begin to dissect it little by little.
Right.
We now have serious security issues. People can no longer know who their next door neighbors is or are. And this is not who we are. What has changed? Why
Not.
insecurity
Yeah.
why is insecurity on the rise, and it keeps rising, and people are now a bit more conscious? Is it because we're now tending towards the individual living style as against the communal one? Why are we living this communal lifestyle that we are used to now moving to? Because the more we move further from a communal living or lifestyle, and I think the further we go from there, the closer we are to insecurity. And we have it, and we're all complaining today. How has that affected us? What do we need to do? What is it that we're not doing that can easily reduce? Yes, again, basically. So for me, my thinking is I'm thinking around this as this. I don't know if any of you can look at these and probably tell us what the challenges are.
Laura, you want to give a shot?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know we've been talking a lot about the village background and everything, and it's a good backdrop because it helps us understand the context of where society as a whole began interacting. And the truth is that with modernization, a lot of changes have come. Living arrangements have changed. Locations have changed. Even attitudes have changed.
True.
And for the African society, a lot of it is modeled around other societies outside the continent, and that's mainly because of civilization, because of all the innovations and trends. And we've started that train of thought talking about technology and its impact. It's not all negative though. The only thing there is, to your point about insecurity, the thing where you even want to, so let me circle back again and put it this way. The thing where you even want to get to know your neighbor is not there, because the fast pace of modern life is so stressful that you barely have time for yourself, not to mention getting to know the person next to you. That's really what it is. So it's not people necessarily deciding to be antisocial. It's just people being too busy and too tired to socialize. Now, it has its downsides, obviously, because if you don't know the people around you, you cannot vouch for anybody, and you cannot out anybody if you need to.
And you don't know what the next door neighbor is doing.
Yes.
All right. So, okay.
And I can give you a case in point. So here in Lagos, where we are based, you hear news stories a lot about how there was a drug bust in some estates, or there was some neighborhood that was involved in nefarious crimes. And then you hear people saying things like, wow, I didn't know this was going on in our neighborhood.
Yeah, true.
You've heard of meth labs in some specific neighborhoods, even estates, places that you would not
Secured
even imagine.
estates.
Very secure.
Yeah.
And these elements choose those locations just for that reason, because now everyone minds their own business. So nobody is going to come and
prying into what they are doing.
Yes. And maybe they won't come and knock on Emmanuel's door and say, I see you at home 247. You don't seem to have any job you are doing. What's going on? Nobody does that anymore. So there was this thing in the past where you were accountable to your community. Everybody knew you. They knew what you were doing. They knew where your money came from. It was as deep as that. But now it's even considered taboo to try and dive into some of these things. Some people will even tell you, is it your business? How does it affect you? That's the feedback you get these days. But we're doing ourselves a disservice. And I'm going to digress to a controversial aspect of it. It's also about this whole communal thing. So I have this argument with friends regularly about whether proposals should be public or private. I mean, marriage proposals. It's a dicey discussion, but that's not where I'm going. I'm just focusing on the communal aspect of it. And I always tell people that we are not communal, which is why we feel it is wrong to do it publicly. But there's a security behind doing it publicly. Because if you do it publicly, somebody can come tomorrow and say, but I have 2 children for this person who is proposing to you. But you don't get that security when you're doing it privately and the guy just comes to you in the room and then you people say you are getting married. So that's an
Yeah.
example. There are so many other aspects we can take it from, even for work. For example, we all know how easy it is to get referred to jobs.
Yeah.
And that's because of the relationships we built. So if I come to Kenneth tomorrow and say, I'm looking for a job, I want to go into corporate comms, it will be easier because we've established that
relationship.
and that community around it.
Yeah.
I can go to Emmanuel and say, oh, can you connect me with some people in the
No, I
marketing
want to.
industry? It's by force. It's by
This
force,
one
bro.
is imposed on you.
It's by force.
Man, no deal.
I know where you live.
That's exactly the way,
Which is
right?
part of the
Okay.
communal
Yeah,
living.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's the thing. So if we are too individualistic, we also deny ourselves certain opportunities. There are certain things we cannot necessarily get to. You know, you go online on places like LinkedIn, for example, and you see people complaining a lot. Oh, it's so difficult to get jobs. I have to put in 400 applications just to get a single interview, not even an offer. And they make these posts all the time. And it always strikes me as it's a sad aspect of the modern lifestyle because people don't know people.
Yeah.
And I hear people going online publicly proclaiming that they are shy, they are introverted, which to me is an excuse for not going out
But
to
I
network.
don't think it is.
Yes, but again, that's
It
not
is
the-
not. But that
that's
is not the
subject matter.
conversation.
So I'm just trying to stick within the
Okay, yeah.
The
subject.
context, yeah.
Yes. So the point is that if you don't go out to get to know people, opportunities can come to you. Those opportunities that would have come to you based on relationships will not come. And then you end up posting 400 applications because believe it or not, believe it or not, I know people who have never done more than 10 or even 5
Yes.
applications at a
Yes.
stretch. All they need to do is reach out to 5 of their connections and
Yeah.
they get interviews straight.
True.
And
Very
that's why
true.
you always hear people saying, oh, it's by who you know. It's true. It's very true. It
Okay.
is by who you know.
Let's hear from
So,
Kenneth.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, Lola, you've spoken very well. Thanks, Emmanuel.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so the reality,
Yes.
it still falls back to there is, for everything, there is a downside. So one of the downsides to embracing the shift from communal to individualism is what Emmanuel has pointed at. We rising insecurity because nobody
yes.
cares about the next person. So this is it. Some of the things I'll marshal out a few points.
Right.
Now, one of it is that let's go back to the rural. For us who grew up in the village, we like
Yeah, we love it.
Ah.
We love it.
Oh, it is sweet. If you never had that experience, you need to take a vacation.
What?
I'll give you license to my village.
Yes.
They will-
You
one
find
month.
out.
Is there Wi-Fi in the village? No.
Big time.
Big time.
Big time. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So let's
Whatever you, even better electricity.
for real, yeah. So let's go. So
Right.
the thing is, number one of the things that has made it look as if communal living is no longer a strong tie or bond in our society is the urban migration.
Right.
Here we are. Ima and I, we have said that we are proud village boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a route that we know and we identify with till date. We're in the city. We're in the urban environment.
Okay.
So,
Exactly.
and of course, distance. Of course, insecurity has also hindered our frequency down home. So, I'm coming.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
we look at it again then you now come to the urban environment. Yeah, the urban centers are embracing so much of the modern or the Western culture that mind your business, I mind my business. But however, how much that is taking the tone of us today, there are still young people of our age, young people in our age bracket who are still very keen on communal living. I give an instance, and this is very, very practical and most recent. A friend of mine, just in 3 months, he has moved or relocated to 2 places in 3 months.
Wow.
Point 1, where he was staying, was a built-up estate
Okay.
that you can't get access except on a call-in. So I think he stayed there for a while. He wasn't enjoying that. This is somebody, he relocated from Ibadan or your state to Lagos to pursue his dream.
Dreams,
Yeah, which is already making waves and achieving results. So he stayed a while, and that didn't. Then he relocated. By the time I knew, he said he has moved to another estate. I don't want to mention the names of this. They are
Yeah,
all
good.
they are on the island of Lagos. So he said, just about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we're talking. I said, how are you enjoying your new place? He said, there's a place he wants to move to now. I say, why now? You just came here a month or two ago. And he said, I'm an Ibadan boy. He said, I am not enjoying all these gated estates. He said, I like to mingle with people. So where he's going to, still within the island environment, is more like an open place that he wants to have access to people. For us guys, we love football. We're still in line with our topick.
Yes.
We love football. So
Definitely.
guess what? That is a communal engagement. So he said that he can afford to subscribe his pay TV, he can afford to buy data and watch matches from anywhere, but he enjoys that touch of go to a lounge or a viewing center, sit down with boys. Among guys, they'll say football is sweet when boys gather, they watch and openly. That's what he said. So for my friend, he said he is not in tune with that individual living, mind your business, I mind my business. He wants to interact with people. He wants to know his community. He wants to know the people that stay where he is, what they do, and what they're into. So he taps from them. So that's why I say, in our age bracket, people are still very conscious of that communal touch in their existence. Then you bring it down to how it has affected us because everybody is minding their business. Again, I'll tell you that in our present day world, people back in the days, communal living was selfless. It was without, when I know everything about you, Lola, I am not trying to know everything about you to use it against you tomorrow. In the world today, everybody has been asked to be very careful. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you do. Be careful where you go to. Because the eyes that are seeing you, the ears that listen to you, are more than the eyes you see, are more than the people who you hear when they talk. So you never can tell who is listening to you. So that's why people have become, we are going individualistic because people have tried to be very reserved. Nobody wants to be outspoken anymore. So by that, I stay in an estate. I just come out in the morning, I bathe, I go to work, I come back, nobody says hello to me. We are beginning to be comfortable with that. But that is why I still said that the digital transformation and technology has not taken us away from communal living. That same guy who is keeping to himself has multiple communities online that he or she belongs. But in his immediate circle, nobody might know him. But he has 1,001 people he's interacting with on phone on daily basis. He has, as we are now, when we leave this studio, I bet you, Ima, Lola, and myself, I know tons of messages are waiting us to respond to. Communities are waiting for us to respond to. So that is it. So, but that physical touch is we are losing a grip of it. But one of the essence of this episode today, I think, is for us to revive that communal living. If a young man comes to you, Ima, within your neighbor and say, Ross, I want to meet you. What do you do? What will be your response at first?
I think that my reaction would be, who are you?
Yeah, so that is what puts people off.
Exactly.
Like, who are you?
I don't want to be embarrassed.
How do you just walk up to me and say, what do I do?
Yeah,
why are you interested?
Whereas back then, somebody walk up to you and say, I just noticed you in the environment. May I meet you? You see that? You say, oh, yes, I'm new and I'm XYZ. Freely back when we were growing up. But what is changing that is the self-awareness that whatever you say or do can be used against you. Everybody is careful. Is careful, but we shouldn't be too careful. You know, if we take it to the scripture somewhere says, be careful, but be careful for nothing. So in all this, our discretion matters a lot, who we interact to, and the information you give out to people also matters. So somebody comes and is asking you a question, you should be a bit reserved. Let the person study you and now discover that, unveil. So I think I still dwell on the fact that communal living is not eroding us. It's not going to erode us anytime. But where we need to be conscious of now is we need to be deliberate about not knowing our environments. Environmental awareness, neighborhood awareness. No, Ima, are you interested in knowing your next door neighbor? Are you? So if you are, then, okay, systematically, we should be able to make attempts to know ourselves. So this I am XYZ, this is what I do, this is where I am. So we begin to know ourselves. I know, like you mentioned, Lola, there are built up as a very security conscious estate that the security agents have busted in recent times and said drug peddlers reside there.
Right in there, yes.
Right in there.
Yes.
There is an environment on the island that in the past, some 3, 4, 5 months ago, NDLE were consistently on the road within that neighborhood. I knew the signal of that possibly those big estates there are peddlers they are targeting. That was, are you getting it? So it's because, and if my next door neighbor is doing such and I don't know, it's because I have deliberately decided to be individualistic in my own right. I don't want to, and he too, because it might be into illicit, is avoiding any social connection. So people shy away from that. But I think systematically we should see how much we know ourselves and our environment.
Yeah, so basically, if I understand correctly, you are advocating for a communal lifestyle, but with a touch of
diplomacy.
So an hybrid version. Okay, but again, I'm still going to highlight some things.
Right.
I know that those who have constantly advocated for individual living or individualism have pointed that because that they are able to concentrate, that if they are alone they are better able to chase their dreams and aspirations and work with things. That is their argument. However, my question to us today is that true? Again, during our communal living, coming from the small communities and being able to interact with people, even in urban place, the urban settlement, where you constantly interact with your friends, family, either online or offline. Sometimes you are moved by the achievements that they've been able to achieve. You're moved by their achievement and you are inspired by their work, and that can easily push you to either work harder, that can push you to work harder on yourself, to say, okay, oh, my guys are doing this, I'm going to achieve that. So for me, I think that argument for wanting to be individualistic is not tenable. I don't know if you have contrary opinions to that.
Let me come in. Can I come in, please?
Yes.
Okay, so this is it. That argument is not tenable, if you ask me. In as much as you want to be on your own and focus on your goals and run solely as a one-man riot squad. Let's take it back, memory lane again. I remember as a growing boy, there was this community my parents served as teachers then. There was only one vehicle that travels from the village to Lagos every week. The man goes once a week and returns.
I hope it's not the one that uses the station wagon.
A station wagon.
504.
Yeah, 504 station wagon. Yeah.
So we all know.
Yeah. So this guy, when he's going, I'm happy Ima has a glimpse of what I'm saying. When this guy is in town, those who want to travel, if Ima is going to Lagos, the full street, we want to send stuff to their people in Lagos, in the urban area. We grew up with that mindset. I don't know, Ima, if you have that mind, if you had that mind that it seems the people in the city, life is very difficult. They can't survive with support from the village.
Even letters.
Yes.
Even that's what we're currently experiencing now.
Yes.
People now billing
food stuff from the village. So that was one community effort that we knew back then. Bringing it to people focusing on their goals when they are individualistic. I would say not really. Reason being that if you read tales, novels about rural environment, how XYZ is going to school, has gained admission or has gotten a scholarship to travel abroad. Back in the days, the entire community pushed funds, resources together to push that person's son out of the village to
Okonkwo.
advance
True.
his
That's true.
education
Very good.
and career.
Okonkwo of things fall apart.
Yeah. And when
Yes.
such a person, the parents become very proud. So, and the idea is that the community will say his success is our success. I bring it to my family, my brothers and sisters, my immediate other brother, who actually influenced me into this line of career, Godfrey.
We should bring him
Yeah,
on.
someday.
We're going to find a way to bring him on board.
Guess what? Each time in our family group, he will say sometimes when we are just exchanging charts on success, strive milestones.
Milestones, yeah.
Guess what? He's a very let's say very everywhere brother. He's for everybody. He will
Yeah.
tell you as you tell I just did. You say your success. If you blow now, I blow. Success is our success. That is the spirit of communalism. So
Yeah,
in the village, then people still focus on their ambition, their goals with the community support.
Right.
Then, like Emmanuel said, that person, when a child is getting that community support, somebody gain admission or has a scholarship to leave the country or to the urban center,
Yeah.
everybody comes together, they pool resources, and they begin to write letters to check on that word from time to time. He writes back. Then he's achieving his goal. Then other parents is encouraging them to push their children also that my son, my daughter, focus on your education. When you are excellent in your education, the community is waiting to push you up. So then bring it to us today. We can't invariably. I'm not sure anybody who is successful today we can come out boldly and say my success is single-handedly his or
Achieved.
herself.
At all. At all.
Directly or indirectly, there is a communal influence.
Yes.
Whether they say I am what do I call it? This stereotype. I don't know how do they use that English. Borrow me.
Solitary?
Yeah, solitary. I'm a one man mopo.
Yeah.
I stand alone.
Right,
My
right.
goals, my success, my achievement
all me.
is all me. No, I have worked with an MD, female MD, and a female COO. Back then, if we have a business, a job we are doing, and you are the account manager or the lead, the team lead, then you go and say, okay, this is the report. You send your proposal by mail. They now call, okay, come and explain this pitch to me. Come and deliver what you have curated as a proposal to client. We are narrating, okay, let me give an example. I have done this. Okay, or you are giving a report of a project. I have done this. I
Personal
don't want
pronoun.
to mention my madam then. The eye she will use to look at you. By the time you see that eye contact, you will correct
change
yourself
to
to
we.
the plural we.
Yeah.
It will tell you,
Okay.
if you are saying I, who are you running alone? Where are the people working with
With
you?
you.
Individualism in our society, they work. Look, I tell you, in a workplace, why are we saying collaboration has become very key?
Very, very.
Collaboration has become very key. Say collaborate,
Yes.
teamwork. Then somebody in your resume will say, I am a team player. If you are a team player, you are not an individualistic person.
That is it.
That is in any way this argument, I'm sure if we take it further, in as much as we learn to mind our business, keep to ourselves, trust me, you are not running alone.
Nobody runs it.
Yeah, nobody's running alone. At one point or the other, there is a communal influence. Whether it is two men that are supporting you or you are working with in a community.
Let's go on a commercial break. We'll be back.
Yay.
All right, welcome back. If you've welcome back, I think that the conversation has been very, very exciting. So much to learn. Two village boys, one city girl.
Yeah.
Digesting the
What's
issue
up?
of communalism versus individualism, and it's been a wonderful one so far. And I hope you do enjoy. You're enjoying yourself as much as we are
Yeah.
doing right
Yeah.
here in the studio. Yes, let's take it up. Ken, we've spoken so much, and thank you for the insight that you're bringing in and relieving of past memories. It's been wonderful, amazing, splendid, wonderful. Name it.
Do you need any more adjectives?
Man, you can lend us, right?
Yeah.
One thing again for me, because we've looked at these without taking side and just exploring what technology has done to communalism and what communal living, communalism has also done to technology vis-a-vis, like side by side. My point is, if we have a very sound philosophy to live in as Africans, which is one for all for one,
Yeah.
why is it that we still have a leadership issue? Because again, the bedrock for leadership, it's usually from the culture of the people. We have a culture, and the culture is that we live for the other. It is that the philosophy is that people can see you. People would see you as a bright mind, and which is to the last point when you made reference to contributory scholarship for students within the society, within the community, and people willingly sponsored kids that are not theirs. They practically take care of kids that are not theirs. They would reprimand kids that are not theirs, and tend for them, resources wise, emotional wise, name it. What has changed in today's environment? Why is it that if we have had sound leadership judgment in the past, why is it not reflecting at the political level that we have today, and people, the masses, are suffering for it? We had a perfect, as it's been painted on this episode, that the communal lifestyle is still the best for us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But every good aspect of it is not reflecting in the kind of leadership that we have today. Where did we get it wrong?
I know it's a setup.
It is not basically we are dissecting this issue.
Okay.
Let's see.
Take it like this.
Yeah.
Let's take it like this. I'll take it from this angle that ideally, the current day political leadership we have, not just political leadership, even in some of our small cell units or circles, what we have experienced in recent times is that leaders or our leaders have become more self-centered than people-centric.
Which is the individualistic.
Yes,
living.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and when I say more self-centered now, it is not about every in politics in our climate today. I can tell you that the ideology behind everybody aspiring for a political office today is for self or personal aggrandizement. There is real in the manifesto, in the campaign. Yes, it is easy to say, I will do this. I know your yearnings. I know your worries. I know what you are facing. I know the issue. I'm aware of it. I'm in it. But getting there, I begin to ask myself, is there something that suddenly somebody you trust that when he gets there is going to be people oriented, is going to be people driven, gets there and shut the door against the people? But for his immediate circle, the family per se, and his associates, even when you cry foul, you cry from here to the moon, there are people that will vouch that, no, he is the best. He is doing a lot. We are feeling the government. We are feeling his leadership. That is because they are part of the beneficiary. But you and the general public, the masses per se, are not benefited. So in the communal life, when you trickle it down to political settings, it is a function of our leaders, political leaders, have become more individualistic than communal in their activities, in their affairs, in what they do, because you see that the self-centeredness is increasing on a daily basis. You and I seated here, I cannot vouch that if we get these opportunities, we will still be people-centric. It takes,
Shots fired,
look,
shots
yeah,
fired.
see, this thing
Okay.
is very, very practical, and it's very, very deep. So hold on, it's deep
Yeah.
because when you get there, when you try to, because there is this thing that when you try to do it for the people, for the masses, there are forces behind the scene that will say, no, you can't.
What are the forces? I know we're not discussing politics
Yeah.
and this.
No,
We're
no.
just
We're
we're
not.
basically just looking at a leadership and the philosophy of the communal living and all of that. And maybe I might just point. I don't know if I don't think that I am that self-centered that when I get into office, I don't know, because I just can't leave it.
Let me come in. See, it is not about you anymore. At this point in time, you can be frustrated that because you want to maintain the position, you just, okay, guys, run it the way you guys are used to. That is what has happened half of the time, or most of the time, in our political setting. But that's not what we are discussing here.
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
don't need to reflect on it.
Yeah, but again, yes, I'm just trying to again. I fully understand that there are people who believe in status quo because they're benefiting from it.
Yes.
And they want
Yeah.
it to remain the way
That
it
way.
is.
Yes.
I am not campaigning today. I'm not contesting for any political
But-
position.
Yes.
But I also know that I do have a fear of God, and I don't just like things not working. I don't know what the system is that they operate, and if I know that I'm stubborn, a bit stubborn, right?
That is
It's,
putting it
it's, it's
mildly.
in the blood.
Yes, I am a bit stubborn. But whatever it is, either political solutions or name it, I think that people have been able to operate in the most difficult circumstance. First, the willingness to want to see a change. And then two, the passion to want to drive that change into effect.
Yeah.
So, for me, if I am given the privilege, though I'm not contesting to
yet.
this, yeah,
Yet.
yet. So it's for what I would have
Keyword.
loved to see is, first of all, diagnose the situation, come on board, know what works, see how you can tweak it to the benefit of the people. It is one thing to say, I want to do this. For instance, basically, let's take infrastructural development
Yeah.
for the community and say, I'm awarding this contract to you, but you have to deliver. And it's a KPI. If you have been benefiting from the system, I can say, okay, no problem. Political solutions is these things will be given to you, but you can't embezzle it. You're going to run it. It's a business, right? For whatever contracts that have been awarded, you would make profit. But you have
To deliver.
to deliver on what has been assigned to you to do. And where you cannot deliver,
Outsource.
you will be called to questioning and you will face the repercussion. I think that for one, leadership is all about willingness to want to do that thing. And two, secondly, having the tenacity to want to see it to the end. And I can tell you that we do have a people, especially in the country that we are in, that where you put your feet, you stamp your foot on the ground and say you want to see this done, people actually go out to do it. It is when you are lackadaisical and you tend to, or you are also complacent, that you see people not doing it because they know that, yes, you gave me this. Oh, you are asking for kickbacks.
Yes.
Why am I doing it?
Can I
Because
chip this in?
the kickbacks you're asking for is over 80%.
Sure.
So if you don't ask for kickbacks, I see no reason why that person will not go ahead
So
to get
let
the job.
me key this into your point.
Right.
You said number one, willingness to want to do or deliver or see to the change.
Yeah.
And the second point you talked about the passion to want to see it happen from end to
end. Yes.
And
So
yes, that's the word,
this, and you also mentioned that you have seen instances where such has happened, but that might just be 2 in 10 in our society.
Yeah.
So this is the scenario here. Let's be very pragmatic.
Okay.
As much as you and I, we are communal and people oriented or people centric, want to do something that will impact the people, that the people will value and say, yes, he's representing us well, he has our interests at heart. You must, let me use that, have like minds around you.
Build them.
To deliver,
Build the
to
team.
deliver, you must have like minds around you.
Yeah.
And if we look at our political settings, the back in school when we were reading, I say this in almost all the time when I talk to people, when we are reading history, when we're reading government, those are that art students and social science students, the names we were reading in those books or the literatures, we used to think that they were people that have passed, but as we were growing, advancing, visiting the urban centers, attending events,
And
you
then
got
you
to
see
see
them.
that the same names you were reading in your senior secondary, they are still in same people. So
necessary.
recycling the system, then of course when you are recycling the system, people who are more self-centered or individualistic with their position, they have over time built a circle of like minds who see nothing wrong in delivering to the people, in meeting, in giving out doing things that benefit the people more than personal. So it's a long rope for us. It's a long. That's why I said that you and I seated here. If given the opportunity, you have said that yes, you have the mind, you have the fear of God. Me, I tell people, not just the fear of God, the fear of the people is the fear of God.
Yeah, sure.
Is a phrase I have learned
better
recently.
put. Better
That
put.
the fear of the people is
Is
the fear of God.
Okay.
Because when you do it unto the people, God will be pleased. Because you have satisfied them. You have met their needs. You have met their yearnings. So that is the most fear that we need to put in our mind. When you say, I have the fear of God, the scripture clearly states you cannot say you love God, you love God whom you don't see. And you hate your brother or your sister whom you see and interact with. So that must dwell in our leaders' mind, that the fear of the people should spur them to deliver. I'm interested in all this, so I'm looking forward to the day I will get an appointment in my state and say, come and drive this project. I am praying and diligently saying that if such an opportunity comes, God help me, let this mind still be in me, that even if people want to infiltrate it, it should give me wisdom to be able to build people of like mind. If we have 10 people of like minds to drive a cause, trust me, when you come to me, you try to buy me from the back door, I say no. Go and meet B. You met B. You come to Iman say no. You come to Lola say no. That person, by the time you go to the fifth person, it will get tired and give up. But that ladder is not very long in our system. It is short. You meet A, B, say no. C will tell you, okay, don't worry, I'll talk to them. And case
then
closed.
that is the end.
Yes. So Lola, I don't know. So we'll be bringing it back how
Yes.
communal living, though practiced, but our leadership is not a reflection of what our African
Communal
culture stands for,
for, yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if you have. What do you think about it?
Yes, and you and Kenneth have made a lot of very salient points regarding this. And what I would just say is that, politics is the one thing that really drives so many aspects of our daily living.
Yeah.
so many. So for the kind of change that we're looking for, that ideology needs to shift, whereby people begin to see themselves as part of the whole, and rather than just individual
yeah.
pieces. That's the kind of thinking that makes someone say, okay, now I'm in this position. What can I do for my community? How can this nation be better as a result of me being in this position? That's the kind of thinking that would drive anybody in political service. And yes, that's even the word. It's more of an act of service.
Yes.
So it's not something to benefit just a few people. It's something to benefit the wider society. So for this kind of ideology shift to occur, two things. The first thing is that people need to begin to key into the benefits of building the whole, making it go forward. We always admire so many countries. A good example, let me even step outside the continent a little bit. A good example, and often quoted, is Singapore. Yeah. And there are other similar setups where you have people who seemingly had nothing. The UAE comes to mind. Right in the middle of the desert, they were able to develop this paradise that everybody wants to go to now. So the point I'm making here is, when people begin to see it as the growth of all, is also, my own growth is included in the growth of all, then it now creates a mindset shift that drives how political office is held. And the societies that advance that course, the societies that are more communal, you see that they have more robust political systems. And I must add at this point, there is no perfect political system, simply because you cannot satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
As perfect, as equalitarian, as whatever it might need to be, you will find out that there are certain people that will still say, no, this doesn't serve my interests. So, but for the larger good, for the vast majority of people, a better functioning system is actually, even down to an individual level, something that drives productivity to quite a huge extent.
True.
When a society functions properly, when it is properly governed, people are able to reach their highest potential. And they cannot do that if society is just focused on a few people.
Yeah.
So we start to have things like classism, we start to have things like income disparity, so many divides, and then there are some other elements that get thrown in. Okay, you come from this side, you don't come from that side, which I feel are distractions. But the point is, if people begin to just come together and start to reason out how we can move together as a society, you begin to see a whole lot of shifts, and these shifts will happen naturally. So it won't even be something that people need to fight for. By the time people begin to see the benefits of this, this thing makes sense. Okay, so what we've been doing is not even working for. Like I said, there will be resistance because the current state of things suits a few people. But by the time the larger sets or the larger society begins to see the benefits and fight for it, we'll start to see a shift. It will occur naturally. Yeah. So another win for communal living.
But I think that
absolutely.
I think that this makes a whole lot of sense because sometimes you just think, I don't understand, why are things not working? But let's bring it home.
Right.
As much as we have looked at communal living as something that people should key into, there is one thing that I practically do not find interesting.
What's that?
And which is that sometimes it goes back to when your resources, as much as people have contributed to build you also need to build others.
I mean, naturally,
right?
Yes.
And it doesn't good. It's not a good thing when you are an entrepreneur or you have entrepreneurship mindset, right? Because sometimes, again, I'll give instances. It therefore means that if you're running a bean cake business,
Call it what it is now. What is bean cake?
Bean cake in our local languages means akara, right? So if you're running, I'm just using that as an example, right? Sure. So you're running a bean cake business in a place. It therefore means that you're going to feed how many persons from the family, right? From your business, right? That is on the one side. I know that in our previous topic, we've talked about the black tax situation. It means that if you are earning, say, $1,000, you are definitely going to be spending so much in also, which works, right? Because you're also taking care of people and also helping them build up. But the adverse effect on you as an individual is that you do not have enough resources to save at the end of the day.
True.
That is one. Then two, you cannot even invest in yourself in terms of the level of development, in terms of education that you need to attain. Right? You're tied back because you're also having to fend for some other persons to also grow. That for me is also a challenge. How do you balance the equation in such a way that you are able to keep these and not being tagged as an ingrate in terms of the amount of development or support that you also giving to other people, or you don't run your business down all in the name of also where do you call the shot, where do you set the boundaries, where do you tell these people, your people, that you know what, this is the boundary and then we cannot exceed this.
Okay, Lola, you want to shoot? Okay. Go ahead.
Let's go for it.
Go ahead.
So, you're talking about individualism and how, as an entrepreneur, for example, your resources begin to get stretched. But the way I've seen it is there is a thin line. You know, your question is about balancing the act, and it's a thin line because the truth is you cannot bite the finger that fed you. So already, given the laws of reciprocity that we are...
But I'm not a dog. Why should I bite?
He's an African film.
Okay, so let's...
Yeah, Africans. Just take it like that.
Okay.
Yes. So, by simple reciprocity, obviously you have to give back. It's part of, even in the advanced societies, you hear it, you know, people have made so much money and they give back. Giving back is not just something people do because it makes them look good. It's actually a life principle. Because you see, there's this thing that a lot of people, in fact, nobody can explain it, but when you find yourself giving back, you also find yourself in a position where you can even receive more blessings. There's something around it. And I'm not even trying to be religious here. It's just something philosophical and something that we observe even in day-to-day living. We can see that happening. So addressing this question is basically looking at it from two ways. The first way is that, okay, so I have all these resources. I didn't, by my own power, get these resources.
Which we have talked about.
Which we've talked about.
Communal support.
Communal. So even your wealth is communal at the end of the day. So when you now say that I could sense that individual nature coming up. But again, it's also limiting the person. Whoever thinks that way is also receiving some sort of mental limitation because it's blocking them from even receiving more. Yes, there will be people who would feel entitled. There will be people who would try to be opportunistic. But when resources are properly allocated and controlled, you don't even have to give people everything they want. You can empower them to even give them, because you are now in a position to do that. So don't look at it as, oh, now you are blessed and you are the one giving to others.
It's not time to
exactly.
bless others.
Look at it as you are also a vessel to bless others. So everybody gets blessed. That's the real way
At what how would I say it now?
Say.
At what expense? At what expense? Because yes, obviously, sometimes it is not even the community that trained you, right?
What?
Hold on.
Okay.
Sometimes it's you. We have people who have to work to get themselves educated, right? Trained, and then get something doing, right? And then they find themselves in position. They've strived all their lives to get their stuff. But let us not. It is beyond. I'm not just looking at those whom you just think about and say, okay, you know what, I need to do this. I'm basically referring to those who feel entitled to your resources. And sometimes they say, my uncle, my brother runs XYZ, this thing, he can't even do this for me. right? And not understanding the intricacies involved. For instance, if I'm running a big company, I'm looking at my record, my books, right? So if I'm running a loss, I'm making profit.
profits.
Some persons feel that you should just give them employment on the basis of being your
Connected
brother,
to
you're
you, yeah.
connected to
Yeah.
you, or being your family members, whether they are qualified or not.
Or not.
And you've handled businesses, sometimes some persons have handled businesses and brought in their persons to help manage the businesses, and the businesses were run aground. However, you look at it, I'm not trying to come from the place of, oh, I've made so much, I need to give. I'm looking at the efficiencies in doing this, or I'm looking at ways and manner in which I can do this without my fingers getting burnt at the end of the day.
Okay, but
Okay.
Kenneth is about
Yeah.
to tackle.
Okay. Yeah. Let me come in here. Okay. See, this is it. Is a two-way traffic.
Okay.
The two-way
Let's have
traffic. Yeah, in the sense that you are already there. There are people behind that have seen themselves as dependent under you.
Okay.
So again, like I said, there is this popular sage in our side that say we rise by lifting others. Then in at such time that if you have become established, either as a private person or as a public person or as an entrepreneur or as a career person who works in a corporate organization and you are well to do, at such point you get to that level. It is just the African thing that you need to also help others. And when I say two-way traffic, this is what I mean. One of that is, of course, there are people that will just believe that they need not do anything but they must earn from you. They must get from you. If you want to help yourself, you need to be very, very discreet about that. Else, your fear of saying they don't not minding if you are making profit or running into a loss, or if you have plans, they don't even bother whether you have plans for yourself to build other things, to establish yourself in other areas that your mates are even doing. They don't mind. So it has to be very discreet. You have to use your discretion, and you need to cap it up at a line that say, okay, at every point in time, this is what I can do. Don't do past your power.
Right.
That is the word. Then the other part of it is, Lola mentioned the empowerment is key. That is where the issue of we rise by lifting others comes in. You must seek ways to empower such dependents, so that in the Africa, we are talking about communal. Communal living is an African thing. So in the African side, they say, how did they put this thing? There's this thing they say, instead of giving you fish every day, I would rather teach you
How
to
to
fish.
Yes.
Are you getting it? So
yes.
you need to. That is where empowerment is. Look at them. Sit them down. Sometimes, what is your passion? Ask. What can you do? What is that thing that you know if you are set up on that thing, you will deliver and you'll be able to fend for yourself. So you empower people so that they too, when you empower them, they too, some of their bodies are taken away from you. They now cater for those bodies. If you have maybe a distant cousin who is married, has 3 children, if you don't empower him, month in, month out, you'll be fending for him and his family. But by the time you empower him, he is now established on his passion, on a trade. You have removed how many people's body from your neck? 5,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So that is where it comes from. He has father, mother. He has grandparents. You have also taken them off your list. So at that point in time, your resources, you are beginning to bring your resources back home to yourself. Then you are able to achieve your own desired result, your own desired goal. So it is very, very traditional that when you are made in our society, even people you know and people you don't know, they will become your friends. Riches they attract people. Let me give, before I drop the mic, let me tell you this. I remember very well. I was kind of very close to my parents till date, both my dad and my mom. So there's this aspect of my dad that one day I followed him on a ride to the village. So we were going to greet his dad. So that day, they said Baba has gone to the farm. My grandfather then, late, he has gone to the farm. He said, okay, we just came to say hello. So he now said, I should come, let's go to that farm. On our way, we're just walking through the corners of the community, and there's a place we're about to pass. Say there's one old Baba here, who each time he comes home, the Baba will be greeting him, and the next thing he will say, he will call in local language like, I have you. Anytime you come, you don't even think of giving somebody something. You see, he keeps harassing him in that way. So what that means is that man has said that he sees him to be successful,
Okay,
and he feels he feels he owes him something anytime he comes around. So my dad told me that one day, just told the Baba, he told him, see, Baba, what exactly do you want? What did you do for me in my rising? You have to point it out, sometimes be blunt. But but in all that, discretion matters so that your resources will not run dry. When it runs dry, they will not come to your aid.
Okay.
Come to your aid.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that wonderful closing shots from you, Lola.
Yes. And we've had a very wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, Kenneth. You've made so many salient points, and I'm sure our viewers would be thinking about this very deeply, considering some of the ways we can, shift more to the communal lifestyle. Within reason, of course, because modern society has its own constraints. But what we have advocated for today is that openness, that willingness to engage, because it's also at the end of the day benefits us too. Thank you to Emmanuel.
Yeah, Ken. I know you just spoke. What do you have to tell?
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, my last shot to the audience is that the reality is that communal living has its benefits to you, and you. So don't be in silo. Don't work in silo. Don't don't isolate yourself from people. In fact, knowledge sharing is part of communal living. You share knowledge. The more you share, the more you know.
Yes.
So we need to embrace our community, whether digitally, physically, anyhow you want to do it. The online space has even made it more easy to access communities that benefit us career-wise, business-wise, relationship-wise. I think let's keep it up and be who we are. Thank you.
You've heard from the horse's mouth. And from me, it's all about keeping the African culture, keeping our African roots, because that is the only way we can grow. Yes, we're learning from the outside world, but what is our culture saying? I think if we're well grounded in our culture, there is so many benefits that accrues to us at the end of the day. And there is so many learnings that we can get. I think we have the best culture in the entire world.
Absolutely.
And when we keep to it and we're able to look back to our root and study these and then pick the knowledge that is inbuilt in the culture that we have, we would have solved over 80% of the challenges that we're currently having as a people, as the Black people. Exactly. On this note, would say a big thank you to Kenneth for gracing this episode and coming very well. We appreciate you very well. And to Lola, our city lady.
Two village star boys.
Yes, 2 village star boys, and then the city star girl. We want to say big thank you. And big thanks to everyone who is behind the scene ensuring that this production is successful. We want to say a big thank you. We appreciate you. The viewers out there, we know how much you're spending to watch this. I hope this actually makes you feel lively, happy, entertained, and also one or two things that you've also learned from here.
And okay.
Yes. So if let's hear from you. Let's get your comments on the comment section. Drop your comment. What do you think about this topic? Is it something that we should continue to clamor for or not? Let's hear your views. And if you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button. Yes, we are on all other platforms, and you can. Yes,
and one more thing. This episode has been brought to you in partnership with Latena.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much. It is a wrap from us. I see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.